All right, welcome, Media Men Online. I am Dan. This is Isaiah.
What up, what up?
And we're back again, weekly podcast. Got some news. We're going to talk some movies. Isaiah saw one of my favorite movies of 2024, so we'll probably spend way too much time talking about that, which is good.
Or maybe turn that into its own review.
Yeah, I could cut it out, but... All right, so we're going to start off. We got a couple bits of news here. So not only did the Concord game shut down, but the Concord developer is shutting down as well.
Firewalk Studios. And I just, I feel bad for them, kind of, because it's like, it was, I think, their first, like, big game. And unfortunately, they were kind of just had the wrong direction, I feel like, because it was like, hey, let's start working on this hero shooter. It's going to take 6 years to make. And 6 years later, do people care about hero shooters anymore?
No.
That's a lot of the thing with trends, is people try to chase the trend. And then it's like, it's old news if you take too long. Because I'm sure if this came out 6 years ago, it probably would have done somewhat
fairly well. Yeah.
Like, sure, a lot of the... like
better than it did now.
Yeah. But then it is sad to see a studio close. You know, Xbox did it a little bit ago, but with like Tango Gameworks, which was like, hey, they made a very successful game for Xbox, and then they closed it down. I don't know if you heard, but Tango got picked up by a different company, and they're now working on a sequel. So like, so Tango Gameworks got closed down, but then a new, the different company said, hey, we want to hire you all. You can still remain Tango Gameworks, and you can keep working on the games you were. Which I think is great because they. You know, I keep on wanting to call it Sunset Overdrive, which isn't the game they worked on. It was that like music, like skating game.
Yeah,
but it did very well.
Yeah.
But so that's why it's like, it's unfortunate to see them shut down, but it makes sense. And a little bit of news that has been coming out with this trickle is that they were hypothetically, Sony was going to be working on an Infamous prototype crossover, which were like two of my favorite games from like 10, 15 years ago.
Sure. And
they canceled it to help this studio work on this game. Is the rumor. I don't know if it's official. Those are some of the rumors that are flying around, and I'm just like,
oh my god,
that sucks, because those are two of my favorite games from, you know, back in the day.
Yeah. And
that's why, like, Infamous, I think I've talked about this before, but I'm sad that it's probably not going to come back, because the Ghost of Tsushima game did very well for the company, and I think they just announced the sequel, which looks good.
Yeah.
And that's one of the few games where it's like, people are complaining that it has a female lead, and it's like, nobody cares. It's Ghost of Yoe or something. Oh yeah, Yote. Where it's just like, who cares? Like, as long as it's a good game, I'm down with having a female protagonist. Like, that's not what it's when it feels, and we have to wait till the game comes out or we see more, does it feel forced, like they're just trying to push some sort of message. That's when it's a problem. So I was like, people complaining about it for this game, I'm not getting it. The first game was super well done and made, and it was a very personal story about the character. So as long as they do something similar to this game, I'm fine with whatever. But
yeah, I'm in the same boat where I immediately tune out, no matter how good the game ends up being, when there's some sort of message being pushed. I just don't. Well, that wasn't on my radar. But let's say Ghosts of Yote is about like how the girl is overcoming the struggles of being a woman, and like, no, let's get how much of a badass she is, and what the story behind how she come to be who she is, and all the cool stuff she can do.
Where it's like, you know, is it man bad, woman good?
Right.
That's what we don't want to
Or is it cool ass character doing cool shit?
And here's the thing, you can have a male evil villain in this and I'll still be fine with it. Is it just like, oh, he's bad because he's like, the male patriarchy is the reason why we're... Yeah, it's like, we get it, okay?
But if he's just a dude who's torching villages and killed your family, well, we get it. Oh, God, this one is so cringy that I...
You didn't believe it. You thought it was a joke.
Isaiah sent this over, and I was like, okay, Kamala Harris, Fortnite, they're always against guns. And then the first headline I see, Matt bans guns, has less than 400 people playing, so I'll throw it back to you.
Yep, no, I was watching some videos on some stuff, and I saw this come up, and I was like, this has to be fake. Nope, the Kamala Harris campaign created like their own Fortnite map. I don't know if it's in collaboration with Epic Games themselves or not. I didn't see anything on that. But the whole fun gimmick of it was, oh, you know, there's no there's no guns in it. It's like, wait, what? And the other funny thing is, they're actually investigating right now to see if this is illegal because there's a lot of promoting for her campaign.
Yep.
And I believe one of the terms and conditions for making maps in Fortnite is you can't push any messages on people, political or religious is like, I think the wording of it.
This is 2 political messages in one.
Yeah.
A, guns bad. B, vote Kamala Harris.
Yeah. And that's why it's interesting to see what they're going to do with this. But I just found it like,
it's ridiculous.
Like, yes, there's a bunch of adults who play Fortnite, but who is the main group?
12-year-olds?
People who can't vote.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I did not think of that.
Like, even if it's 50-50, it's like, though, like...
What percentage of Fortnite players you think can vote? 30? 30%?
Yeah.
And the only ones who are adults voting are the ones streaming it?
Yeah, it's
oh my
funny.
God. That's incredible.
And it feels like, and some people are saying, they're trying to like force this to be a meme, but it's like, I don't like, this doesn't have the same level as, Pokemon Go to the polls, where it's just like, that was just like unintentional cringiness, and it didn't feel like they were trying to make it into something. This feels like it's trying to be made into something, so it's like this. No one's going to remember this years from now.
But they can't do anything in a clever manner. It all has to be in your face. So there's no chance this is like some sort of tongue-in-cheek.
Do you know what would have been funny? Is if you had guns, but as soon as you killed somebody, you're the one that dies and you're kicked out. Where it's like, you did the wrong thing, you lose.
The most passive person.
That would have been a little tongue-in-cheek. But no, it's just like, you're not allowed to use guns. It's like,
if the most passive person was the one who wins each map or whatever, I guess that would be fine.
It'd be a little funny it'd be funny to read. That'd be it.
Ooh, or what if, let's say, how Fortnite has where you can build little homes and stuff. What if you build a home and you move in somebody who's in a different game so that they can live there? Then you probably get points.
No. You build a home and then somebody from different comes in and steals it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just thought this was funny.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna talk about a movie here. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Okay. Justin Long is quietly a horror movie icon.
Oh yeah, and
what's happening?
Kate Botsworth, I recognize her as well.
Yeah. So Justin Long, it's called House of Darkness. I saw it maybe last year or 2 years ago. It's a 2022 movie, and I watched it again last night. Yeah, last night. Because it was Halloween and we were kind of just like, let's get something spooky that's not just, let's watch the Halloween movie. But Justin Long is kind of a playboy type of guy, and he meets this blonde gal here, and she brings him back to her house, which is like a giant spooky mansion. And some things happen. She has sisters there who he thinks he's like, oh, do I have a chance to work some sort? Like, he's just an oblivious.
Is it that small of a cast?
Yes.
Wow.
It's just Justin Long and the 3 sisters. That's it. It is very good. As you can see on my letterbox, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Nothing to complain about with this movie. And it was actually I didn't even know what it was when I first clicked on it the first time I saw it. And it turned into this like cult classic feel type to it, and very, very enjoyable. I believe it's a rather short movie as well.
Yeah, it's only an hour 20 minutes. Yeah. It looks like. Or
does it show that?
Yeah, I saw it there somewhere. It said it said 88 minutes somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I don't know where my brain saw that.
Maybe when it was loading. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay, 88 minutes. Yeah. It's like, I know I saw it. 88 minutes somewhere.
Highly, highly recommend. These 2.5 is quite low, I would say, but
that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure that's just a lot of average people just being like, oh, only 4 people, low budget, bad movie.
Yeah.
When it's like, no, I'd say Joe Lynch.
Joe Lynch is my buddy on Letterboxd.
I'd say I like Joe Lynch. I think he's the one that did the heck was that movie we saw last
The movie with Heather Graham. I can't remember what it's called now.
So I love that guy. I talked with him for like 30 minutes after we saw that movie.
Yeah.
I got a picture with him. I was like, this guy, he's made so many good movies that I like.
Oh well.
I know. I wanted to say the substance. I was like, wait, no. Oh, suitable flesh.
Suitable flesh.
Yeah, suitable flesh. I was like, it begins with an SU. Not the substance. That's a different movie. A different really good movie.
I'd be curious to know what you think about this, Isaiah. If you get a chance to see it.
Or did you watch it on your Google Play?
Yeah, I might own. I think I watched it on Prime, but
on Prime.
I'll have to check.
See.
But yeah, highly recommend this. It's a very obviously
my favorite genre. So.
Small cast, yes, and Justin Long, of course. He kind of plays the guy he played in Barbarian.
That's funny.
In this, so.
I'm hopefully a little less scummy, but
much less, okay, less. But kind of like a cocky dick, like that.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a horror icon, like your favorite movie, Tusk.
Oh, second least favorite movie of all time, behind Babes.
Yeah. All right, Strange Darling. Yeah.
Spoilers for my ranking on that one.
Dan talked about this one a while ago. I wanted to watch it, but by the time I had the time to see it, it was only in theaters like a week or so.
Yeah, not very long.
It was gone. I wasn't in the mood to play games or anything. I was just sitting down and I was like, I want to watch a movie.
It's time.
I want to watch a movie, and I just started looking through stuff. I just jumped on Vudu because that was it. I was like, I don't know what I want to watch. I jumped on Vudu. This one had just gone on Vudu or something, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's only 97 minutes, an hour and a half long.
Yep.
Let's watch it. Also, because I'm a huge fan of Kyle Gallner as well.
I'm becoming one. I didn't know him before this movie.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember what I've seen him in before Smile. But I saw him in a couple things, and I always liked him. So I was like, but he is in Smile. I know that's one of the things.
Yeah.
I forget is he the guy that voices Riku in Kingdom Hearts? I don't think so. I know him from something, and from a while ago, and I can't remember it. But I really like the way that this movie is set up, because at first you're gonna open and it's gonna be like chapter 3, and you're gonna be like, what? And it's just a weird way to tell the story, but without spoiling anything. And I guess I'll keep it brief here. It really does, like, it'll take a little bit for you to understand why they're doing it the way they are, but when it clicks, that's when it's like, oh, I get what they're doing now. And yeah, I see like all the actors in there, and it's kind of making sense though, but it does feel like a very small, low budget kind of movie. And he is in Scream. Nightmare on Elm Street, I definitely saw that. Jennifer's Body, I saw that. Yeah, though he's been in a couple things I've seen.
Okay.
But no, he's fantastic. The lead actress, I think Willa Fitzgerald, is fantastic in this. My only complaint is just the way the movie made me feel a little bit. At the end, I was like, I'm kind of not liking what they're doing with the ending here. And then they made me not dislike the ending then with the way it completely ended, but it still made me feel that way. So that's why I was like, that's a little bit of a complaint for me. Yeah. But besides that, I think going into this movie, don't watch a trailer for it. I'd never seen a trailer for it. I didn't know what this movie was even about, really, because I had forgotten when we had talked about it, like what it was about. So I just went into it completely blind. And the director, JT Molnar, that name doesn't sound familiar to me, but definitely interested in what else this guy does.
He doesn't have much there.
Yeah.
So when they give you that opening information, the opening text where they're saying it's a story of 6 chapters. Now, chapter 3, they jump right in. Then it skips to chapter 5. So chapter 4, in my head, seemed like the most obvious thing that was happening. It's when, this is no spoiler, this is when the guy's chasing the girl and she gets to the house. Then it jumps to chapter 5. I thought that the style of this movie was going to be, you don't need to know about chapter 1 or 2. We show you chapter 3, he's chasing her. Then
chapter 4,
you fill in the blanks. He's trusting the audience to fill in the blanks with the information they have.
That works against you.
Yeah, and then so you obviously fill in the blanks. You jump to chapter 5, but then it jumps back, I think, to chapter 1. And then I'm like, okay, this is not. And then it reset my expectations. So
yeah, I think it goes chapter. I guess I won't say that because that's kind of a spoiler. But yeah, it does jump around quite a bit. And I think you had brought it up because I had seen the movie around the same time, was Memento, where that movie tells its story out of order. they're completely different in the way they tell them out of order and for the reasons why. But it is that cleverness that makes me appreciate it even more, where it's just like, maybe I was only going to give the movie, like, let's say like a 3 out of 5. That would immediately bump it up to like a 4 out of 5, just because like that's so clever, especially all these years later after how many movies have been made. And with Memento, they'd be like, oh, they could have just done Memento again, but no, they don't. They it's a very similar style to that, where telling the movie out of order is like the thought process and is what makes it more revealing and interesting to watch, because you're interested, like, oh, how did we get here? And how you get there is very interesting. I think even if the movie was shown in the correct order, which I love that it wasn't, but now that I'm thinking of how the movie plays out, it might have still been a really good movie. Oh yeah, it still would have been enjoyable, but just more standard.
Oh yeah,
that's why I like with this way. It reveals things in a way that makes it more enjoyable when you watch the scene.
You know what I think is going to be interesting is a second watch, which I haven't done yet. Might do that tonight.
I wanted to see if there was a cut of this movie that does it in chronological order. Very similar. So the Memento, I want to rewatch it eventually, because they have a cut of that movie that plays it in chronological order, and just to see kind of like how it works, or like how things tie to each other. Where it's like, I know the movie wouldn't be as enjoyable because part of the enjoyability is the out of orderness to it, but it would be interesting to see how that works. But Kyle Garner killing it. I don't know if Willa Fitzgerald has been anything I've seen before. I didn't recognize her. I don't think I've seen that.
I thought for a second she was the girl from Ozark.
Oh wait, she's in The Fall of the House of Usher.
But this is what I've seen her in. It's Scream, the Scream series.
Wait, is that The Fall of House of Usher, the one right next to it? Yeah, that's the Mike. I actually almost watched this when I was in New York City, but I threw on The Penguin instead. I really want to watch this show. I've heard really good stuff about it. It's Mike Flanagan, who's like my favorite director, probably. Or him and Edgar Wright are up there as my favorite directors. But I do really want to see this, and I'm more interested now that I can see that she's in it as well. I can try to get it's a Netflix exclusive. This is the last Netflix exclusive deal that Mike Flanagan has with Netflix.
Nice.
They kind of screwed him over, so that's the final thing he did for them. So I can see if we can get that on our thing for you to watch.
All right. I have not beaten this game yet. Just want to throw that out there, but I'm a good chunk of the way through. And okay, I have no frame of reference from the original Silent Hill 2. I played the first one, loved it, and I played obviously PT, but Shattered Memories, is that one?
Yeah, that's one of the ones. That's one of the
that one wasn't very good, I don't think. No.
People always say that the last good Silent Hill was Silent Hill 2.
Okay. But this one is very enjoyable. It's a little wonky at points, and the constant fog that your character is in gets to be a bit irritating, but it adds to the all-around spookiness. I think if the fog wasn't there, I wouldn't have any fear at all.
Yeah, that's the whole gimmick of it for the original. It was just like, you literally can't see anything. It's very frustrating. That also adds to the tension.
Yeah. And the types of monsters and like the freaky ass things that are in there are more disturbing than the game is scary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What you're seeing is like, I can't believe my eyes are seeing what I'm seeing. It's not like, oh my God, I saw that.
Yeah.
So
that's what I like to call the goosebump scares. Because it's more just like, wow, that's just creepy.
Yeah. Just gross, nasty, kind of Dead Space-esque type creatures. But these are, we're humans at one point.
Yeah. I mean, so were the Dead Space ones technically too.
Fair.
But no, like this Dead Space looks more alien. This looks more like twisted.
Yeah.
Like these, you can see like the humanity still in their body shapes, kind of.
It has Bloodborne-esque.
Kind of nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare feel. Yeah, but it is very enjoyable. And again, we have
reviews there.
Critics and users alike. I would say I'm closer to this 86 out of 100 than I am the 9.3, but it's very good.
I think the 9.3 is just because Konami has released nothing but garbage for like the past 10 years. And it's funny because Konami, Konami didn't even work on this game. It was Bloober team, and they've been getting a lot of credit because I guess Bloober usually doesn't make these types of games. But they usually do they usually do remasters of stuff, but it's like an Uncharted or something like that.
Yeah,
and not a horror game. So people are saying like, oh wow, this is very good, and. Well, and it does show the flaws of the original game somewhat still too, but that also just goes to show that they tried to keep the essence and nature of the original, where yes, there's some flaws to the original, but that's part of the reason why people like it so much.
Is there a way at this point to play the original?
I mean, you have to have probably one of the older systems. Here's the problem. They remastered the game for the PS3, but they redubbed it, and that's one of those reasons why I say Konami's been down. It's worse. People say it is the worst way to play the game is the remastered version on the PS3. They made the game worse.
Was it a PS1 or PS2 originally?
I think PS1.
Okay, cool. I still have my PS1.
Yeah, so. I was going to say PS1, and if you own a PS3, you might be able to play the PS... I know that you can download, original PS1 games on it sometimes, depending on what model you have. That'd be a way to do it, but also emulators. That's how I've been doing some of the older stuff where it's and by the way, I own the games usually, the Fire Emblem GameCube game. I physically own that. I bought it back when it was only $70. I think now because of Three Houses,
$250.
It's way up there. But I emulated that so I could play it on my PC. So I was like, I do own the game.
Do you have a GameCube?
I do have a GameCube. Okay. It's just breaking it out, and I think it's in storage, and then getting it the correct cords to hook it up to my HDMI TV.
Is that even possible anymore?
They do have the 3-prong transmitter to HDMI cable.
Oh, okay.
It's just an
adapter.
Adapter, that's what I was looking for. But I was like, it's just easier to get it up on my PC, and I can just put it up on that because I can connect I have a GameCube Nintendo Pro controller, the official one they released for Smash Brothers.
Oh.
So I just connect that to my computer, so it still feels like I'm playing on a GameCube controller.
Nice.
Yeah, no, Silent Hill 2, I've heard nothing but great stuff from both new people and people who have played the original.
Yeah.
There's a streamer I like to watch for Final Fantasy usually. He's a big Final Fantasy 7 fan, but he's also a big Silent Hill 2 fan.
Who's that?
Maximilian Dude. He's usually a fighting game.
YouTube stuff.
He usually does fighting game stuff, but he's always #1 game of all time, Final Fantasy 7. So he's a big Final Fantasy 7 guy. But he played Silent Hill 2 for the first time 4 or 5 years ago. Absolutely loved it. And when the remake came out, he's like, I'm going to be playing it again. Played it on stream. And that's kind of I haven't played the game. I just haven't had time. But for streamers, I can throw them on the background while I'm doing other stuff. That's why I've been able to experience the game. I've seen Silent Hill 2 from beginning to end. I haven't played it myself.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's great to hear you're saying that you really like it too.
Yeah.
All right. I know I said I was going to do Metaphor, but then... It's a slightly different one because it looks like this is the one from May, but that's fine. They just started a new treasure trove with new items and things you can get. So I was like, well, there goes my time because one of the mounts they have is a very hard mount to get if you try to grind for it. It started a couple weeks ago and I didn't notice, but it popped up on my my PlayStation feed. I was like, I have to do this because like I said, there's a mount that's really hard to get to grind for. You can't do it solo. You have to do it with a team. And they're just basically what this is play a bunch of random raids and story quest stuff, and you'll get tokens, and then you can use those to get rewards. So this one reward, this mount that usually have to fight the boss either 100 times or have a 1% drop rate on it, is one of the rewards. So I was like, that's the last one I need from that set. So I'm working on grinding that a little bit. So Metaphor unfortunately got push the back burner again for me, just because my extra time I've been spending grinding on this.
Doesn't that so this is the feeling I've had with Metaphor, and I want to see if you are in the same boat. Metaphor, I think back to Persona, and when I played SMT5, Metaphor is going to be, now I haven't looked at the game time, but it's going to be such a large game that I keep pushing it back a little bit, just because I'm not ready for a 100-hour game or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the thing. I think people said it's over 100 hours for that game. And Dragon Age: The Veilguard just came out, and that I know that's going to be a long game as well.
People are already making fun of the character creation on that. Yeah,
I'm a little sad because I'm in a weird situation with that game because I'm a big Dragon Age fan. And usually when it was Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2, I really enjoyed the experience I had with the game. But like, it felt like the story just kind of wrapped up with each game. That's all you needed.
Sure.
But with Inquisition, with the DLC they released, they kind of hinted at where the story was going, and it was something that they had been building up to as a side thing throughout the entire game. And I was actually very interested. I'm like, I want to play the next game now because I'm very interested to see what this story does. And then everything that's been happening with this game has just been making it look worse and worse. And I'm stuck in this weird position of I want to figure out what's going on with the story. I'm hooked. The game just looks like a lesser bad version of Dragon Age, though, and I kind of don't want to play the game at the same time. Where it's like, I do think I want to play it. I do think I do. But I just don't have time right now with all 70? The other stuff I'm doing.
$70?
Probably. That's the new norm now, unfortunately. I mean, it shouldn't be that much money.
All right. This is a new one that just came out. Pokemon trading card game Pocket. Available iOS and Android. And all you see on here is these people opening the card packs, and it is a damn gotcha.
I was about to say that.
Sink.
They're just like, oh, they're trying to scratch at that itch to open packs and see what you get inside.
And it is very satisfying to do so. Yes. However, PSA to everyone out there. You can realistically afford to put money into one gacha game. Okay? Across the board. Mine's Honkai Star Rail.
Mine's Genshin.
Right. And I might for Hu Tao, who's up now, but probably not. Now, with this, there's enough of a reset of so you open packs, but the most important part about this is the game teaches you how to play the trading card game. And it gives you can play against people online. The only problem is you can't use, this is something I would have loved them to have. People who have Pokemon cards physically should be able to scan their cards in and add them to their decks. They should be able to transfer anything over that they've already had, but that's not. They're trying to get as much money out as they can. I believe that your cards will transfer over because this is replacing the old one that didn't really help at all. But the reason that I want to play this is because back in the day when Pokemon cards first started, I know I'm dating myself, but I used to play, and I used to play in tournaments and championships and things. But it's been so long that I don't remember how to play at all. So it has tutorials, you learn how to play, but you do have to use the cards in here. But it's kind of a fun little thing, but don't dump all your money. For instance, Pokemon Go, I've been playing since 2016. I haven't spent a dime in there since probably 2020, 2019.
You don't need to anymore.
No.
But yeah, no, with this game, I especially say spend your money on the real cards. You have something physical that you can hold on to that will retain value.
Possible resale
value. These digital cards are not going to have any resale value. That's why
100% agree.
Don't spend money on this. It's cool for people who do want to play and collect, and then if you can get packs when you buy physical packs, that's awesome. Don't spend money just on the digital.
And it also gives you a free pack every 12 hours. So if you just, when you get up to go to work or school, open a pack. When you get home before bed, open a pack. Don't pour all your money into this. Pokemon is not going to collapse if you don't spend money on this game. Okay?
I mean, you could say, and hypothetically, that's the cool thing. I've been enjoying Honkai Star Rail without paying a dime. You've been enjoying Genshin Impact without paying a dime.
And Zenless.
We spend money on one of them, but that's because I get more enjoyment from... I find the value to be worth it to be able to play all these characters in this game I really like. It's a choice that I willingly make, but if you don't have the money, don't
especially.
do it.
You don't have to. This game doesn't force you. It strongly encourages you to, trust me. But yeah, it is a fun thing, though, if you want to learn how to play the game and all that. And theoretically, you could play and never spend a penny in this game and still have a great time. You do have to be, I know, children, it's hard to be patient, but you do have to be patient. So this is The Outsider, and shockingly,
Ben Mendelsohn.
What the hell's the guy's name from Ozark? The main guy?
I haven't. Jason Bateman?
Yeah, Jason Bateman's in this. So spoilers for the first episode of this show. I'm on episode 6 now, but in order to give more information about the show, I have to tell you what happens. Okay? Jason Bateman's character is accused of R-wording and killing. I don't know how does YouTube do it? You can't say
you can't say the word ever at all.
Either word?
You can say killing, I guess.
Can you?
I don't know, but a lot of I think it depends on the context, because a lot of people will be like, I think for streaming you have to say like, oh, I'm killing, like I'll kill you in Minecraft or something like that.
Okay.
But I know you definitely, like, at no point, like swearing and stuff, you can't say in like the first 30 seconds. But
right.
Yeah, you can just say R word. That's all you have to say.
So he R's and K's this child allegedly. And Ben Mendelsohn is the main detective. This Cynthia Erivo doesn't show up till like episode 2, 3, somewhere in there. She's not in the first couple episodes.
So that's weird.
She's like a detective. She kind of almost ruins the show because she's I know everything type character, which gets very annoying.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Ben Mendelsohn a lot.
Yeah, but he's the detective. His son was killed previously, and he starts to make the connection to think that, oh, maybe Jason Bateman killed my son and this guy's son. They do this first episode's the investigation, and they arrest Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman is killed either at the end of the first episode. Now, I did warn spoilers, or that's why you don't see him. He's like the biggest star in here, and you don't see him in any of these.
Yeah.
Killed by a radical who's pissed off that he did this to this boy. But it turns out Jason Bateman isn't the one that did this. Or is he? We're going back and forth with this. Somehow he was in 2 places at once, allegedly, in 2 different states at once. And this turns into...
You read that first line of the overview, and I think it kind of spoils things.
It turns into a supernatural thing where some of the people in the town are acting bizarrely, and it's this whole thing. Jason Bateman claimed his innocence. They had all the evidence that he was there, but they also had tons of evidence that he wasn't there. It's very, very interesting show.
It's on HBO.
HBO Max, yeah, and it's from 2020. I'm surprised I never heard of it. It's based on I believe a Stephen King story.
Oh, that's cool.
But the production is well done. The acting is very well done. All the characters, but everything starts to first. It just seems like a murder mystery, and it starts to build into this supernatural. Like, what the heck is this? Aliens? What the hell's going on? That's where I'll leave it. I had to ruin the Jason Bateman thing just to tell you where we're going with this. But it's still, Jason Bateman's not the be-all end-all of the show. It's the beginning of the show. So go watch this. It's only 10 episodes. I'm on episode 5 or 6 now.
Max
and it's like interesting.
Putting a lot of good stuff out, it feels like.
They're getting all the AEW stuff on HBO Max as well. All the episodes for the first 5 years, and then simul stream with TBS going forward.
All right, so I saw the show back when it first came out. It was actually funny because if you scroll down, you can see the second picture who that cast member is. This came out before the Fallout show did.
My girl from Sweet Pea.
Yeah, and she's in Sweet Pea as well. But I was like, man, that's crazy, because I didn't recognize her at all. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's 100% her. Yeah, she was she's Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies, and then she's Hawk Girl, or Hawkeye, the female Hawkeye in the Hawkeye TV. Kate Bishop.
Don't know what I'd know her from then.
Charlie's Angels. She's in a bunch. Did you see the Bumblebee movie?
Nope.
Okay. But yeah, no, she's like a big name in this, so they're both in it, and so like I said, I saw it, but a friend of mine hadn't seen it before, and we hang out every Thursday, and so we're the new season's coming out in 2 weeks, or like the final season, because there's only be 2. And so I was like, we're gonna watch it, and here's where my selling point is gonna be. He's like, my dad saw this. My dad, and his dad's not like into games or anime or anything like that.
Is this anime or a cartoon? What would you consider it?
It's more cartoon than it is. Like, it's 3D anime. Like, that's why I say it's very unique, because it's a 3D animated show, but it doesn't look bad like a lot of, like 3D animated shows are. It has this very unique style to it, and it works very well for what they're doing.
A coworker from work actually recommended this to me a few years ago.
100% would recommend it. Like, and like I said, yeah, his dad saw it and loved it. So we finally watched it, and in the rewatch I was like, yeah, the storytelling in this is so good. And that's the thing, you don't have to know anything about League of Legends.
Yeah,
nothing. I think it's interesting with what little League knowledge I had, because part of the intrigue for me is that character looks nothing like I know from the game. So that's going to be interesting to see how they got there, because they have like lore for the games, but they kind of have like an ongoing lore, and that's what they focus on. Not a lot of backstory lore for people. So they said, hey, for Jinx, one of our most popular characters, let's create a interesting backstory for her and a bunch of the other characters from, where she's from, the city of Piltover. And they just were like, hey, instead of making, focusing on Easter eggs, which there's a ton of Easter eggs in there, but instead of focusing on that, let's just make a good show. And that's the best selling point I can say is I know somebody who watched it, didn't know anything about League of Legends, doesn't like anime or video games, and loved the show.
Sweet.
Best selling point I can do. It's just that good. And even if you are into that stuff, it's still very good. And like I said, second season's coming out soon. It's only 9 episodes for the first season.
Nice.
Highly
30-minute or an hour?
40 minutes about per episode. And
nice.
I mean, the voice cast is very good as well. They have JB Blanc, who's from a bunch of animes and voice stuff in it as a character. And then Jason Spisak, he was, I believe, wasn't he John? He played in a Terminator movie. Pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I thought he played in that like bad Terminator movie as like character. Maybe I'm wrong. But no, he voices probably my favorite character in the show. Silco. Silco was such an interesting, fun character, and you like, because you won't think that off the bat. It's seeing where his character grows and the way that he develops. I love talking about his character so much.
Nice.
Like dissecting his character. It's super cool to see. And all the characters in the show are a ton of fun. So yeah, really great second rewatch. Second season's coming out soon. Definitely worth giving it a shot.
Oh. All right. All this was playing in the background the whole time. I had it on mute. So, Kill Tony, episode 689 is the oh god, we're getting
those great ads. Yeah, don't you love
ads.
this time of the year?
Oh
or time of the 4 years? Let's get all those political ads, right? I totally want to see that.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So they were in Vegas, 4,000 plus people, and it was Kill Tony had Harlan Williams and Adam Ray, but Adam Ray as Dr. Phil.
Yeah, one of the best.
Was one of his characters.
Yeah, it's so good. His Dr. Phil's so good.
And he's just a ridiculous human. Adam Ray was actually on Impractical Jokers recently.
Oh, really? So he also did Joe Biden in that episode.
Yeah. He's a fantastic voice actor and impressionist, but Adam Ray and Harlan Williams are two of the funniest and best guests to have on Kill Tony. Harlan Williams is one of the most ridiculous humans to ever exist. So I wanted to promote this episode specifically because they bring what Kill Tony's been doing for these live shows is instead of 2 or 3 regulars and then everyone else is like a random person out of the bucket, which is like me or you could go throw our name in the hat. They've been doing every other. So you'll get Ari Matty, who's he's from Estonia, hilarious comedian. Then they'll do a bucket pull. Then they'll do another like very good comedian. So it's not as cringy as some of the regular Kill Tony episodes, which I do enjoy. Sometimes the cringe is a bit too much.
Yeah, it's you can only like the cringe is good that because you get to see them dunk on the person, but you don't want to see that like 4 times in a row. Yeah,
so I highly recommend this one. It's Kill Tony number 689.
I'll have to watch.
And we're gonna have to talk about this because it was technically in my miscellaneous, but why talk about Kill Tony then go back and So Tony Hinchcliffe was at a Trump rally. And I picked this article specifically because it's the type of things that morons at GQ, CNN, all these dopey, dippy, dumbass idiots can't wrap their head around. So look at this guy, Chris Black. No idea who he is. I'll never remember his name again. Here's the headline. Tony Hinchcliffe managed to bomb telling racist jokes at a Trump rally, which is an achievement. No, it's not.
And first off, that's not even true either.
Right, but it was the wrong setting.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that racist jokes at a Trump rally.
The idea is, oh, what do you mean racist jokes are the types of jokes that people who go to a Trump rally would like? And it's like,
oh, it's because they're all racist, so they should be cheering.
Yeah.
It's the type of idiots that just make this world a worse place, like Chris Black. But here's exactly what happened. Tony Hinchcliffe came out because he's buddies with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan owns the comedy mothership in Austin, Texas, which is where Hill Tony's home is. Now, he came out, he did some of his normal roast jokes, the same type of jokes he did at the Netflix show.
Yeah. Roasted everybody, which everyone loved his stuff at the Netflix show.
Now, did all his jokes really hit? No, not really. It was a Trump rally, not exactly
the place you want to be doing a comedic set.
Yeah, so the reason that I say that is because it's in such a large arena. It was at Madison Square Garden. And the sound and the types of jokes, if you're telling clever jokes in a gigantic room, it's not going to travel well because the people still have to sit and think about it for a second. Yeah. So the sound has to get to them, then they have to think about it and then respond with laughter or booing or whatever. But the problem is CNN and all these other useless idiots who call themselves journalists have just taken this and run with it.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Hinchcliffe
just
said...
reading that right there, but one of Trump's new friends, comedian Tony... Yeah, new friend, sure.
And Trump doesn't know him. The only reason he was there is because he's buddies with Joe Rogan. Yeah. Joe Rogan did the podcast with Trump.
Yeah.
The end. Now, it's pathetic the way that they take this and run with it. And not 24 hours ago did Joe Biden, maybe 36 hours ago, Joe Biden went out and said that all Trump supporters are trash. Kamala, what's his name? Mark Cuban said that there are no strong women who vote for Donald Trump. But the guy making a clear joke about Puerto Rico being a floating pile of garbage is what everyone is upset about.
I know, and people are just like, oh, he's calling all Puerto Ricans garbage.
That's what
and
they do.
Like, that's not what the joke was actually about. It's about the garbage problem there. But yep, let's twist it in the way that makes it look really bad. Because like this guy tells really offensive jokes. Yep. That's his thing. Doesn't mean that he endorses like the radical viewpoints that people can get out of them or anything. Like I say, like look at the jokes he told at the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah,
he says really like
Kevin Hart's ancestors.
Stuff, and it's like and it's like, but you can tell they're just for comedy.
In the vein of comedy,
I don't think he actually thinks
nothing is off limits in comedy.
Things about people,
it's crazy.
Well, nowadays everything's off limits.
And this right here, if you get 20% of the truth on this story, what it should do is tell you who to vote for. If you want censorship, vote Harris. That's what this is about. If you like jokes, remember jokes, everybody? Does anyone remember them? Then you know what to do. What, next week? It's unbelievable.
Like, I can be critical and say, hey, Tony, that wasn't the place to do that. That probably wasn't the place to be telling those kinds of jokes. That's not what you're there for. But for people trying to twist it into something it isn't, it's just, you're taking a situation you could get a W on and just turning it into an L.
I 50% agree with you on that. Now, should he have done that? No. Why? Because of this.
Yeah.
Not because of the jokes.
Oh, yeah. Like, those jokes are fine. Like,
it's because of people like this.
If he had said it on Kill Tony, I would have zero problems with it.
But even at the Trump rally, the reason if the media wasn't like this, and you guys can't see me, but I'm pointing to the screen. Because they're scumbags. Yeah.
Yeah, they make it political. That's
okay.
It's okay if it's one-sided. Yeah.
Let me have the floor here for a second. Put my tie on. Okay, so here's the real truth about Tony Hinchcliffe. The guy grew up, as I did, in a predominantly African-American school system, neighborhood, all that stuff. The people who do those types of things are not afraid to make jokes he grew up with a bunch of his friends being black neighborhood, all around black people. He's not afraid to make jokes about black people. The people who are upset are the people who grew up in Beverly Hills, surrounded by all the other white people who are so afraid to say anything. Tony Hinchcliffe has, I think, like 3/4 of his band that play behind him are black. And they're all dying laughing when he's saying stuff like this because they joke with each other.
Yeah, so I know we talked about this some time ago where Matt Pat basically retired from doing game theory. However, he still continued to be on GT Live, which was like this weekly live show they do where he'd play games or talk about things. Just, for the fun of it. But a few days ago, they had, it looks like about 6 days ago, they had their goodbye stream where he's basically essentially not leaving the internet completely, but like he's basically completely done with game theory now. As being the face of it. He already handed off his other 4 channels, and now with this one, he's handing it off to one final person and moving on with their life. They have a kid who's like 4 or 5 now. Like, they're getting older, got a lot of stuff, behind the scenes that he wants to work on. And he's like, I'm putting this all behind him. And I think it was great when it happened then. And just to keep this short, I tuned in for this live stream for the majority that I could. And it was great to have this kind of walk through memory lane, because what they did was essentially, hey, our streams had different eras. Like, we had an era where we did nothing but play Mario Maker levels. And then we had an era where we did nothing but, play, these types of, Flash games. And they would change the background because they had a green screen, to the background they actually sat behind for each era. Cool. And then they had like, their horror analog reviewing type era, and then VR games. It was really cool. I'm
looking for Doki Doki Literature Club because that's all I ever watched it.
So funny enough, so right there, actually, you just passed her where she's reading something off a script. They had her do the voice she did for Doki Doki Literature Club when they streamed it, but reading a speech from FNAF. Which was pretty funny. But yeah, they were just kind of like, let's have fun and remember all the years that we did this. Yeah. That's why, like, she started off being on the stream with him, and then eventually when she had the kid, it's like, I can't do the stream anymore. Then she left. She left this live stream once they got to the era where she no longer was a part of it. But then, they brought her back to do this because they were doing a donation, by the way, which is really cool, where it's like, hey, we're going to raise $100,000 for, I think it's Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Nice.
Which they reached almost immediately. So it only shows like 50,000 there, but they had basically reached it because they were doing an auction of stuff from Game Theory's history, and they reached like $50,000 on that about at this point too. So I thought it was not only was it cool to have a farewell stream, but they were like, hey, we're going to make a bunch of money to help a bunch of kids do this Make-A-Wish Foundation. And it was for like specifically the urgent ones where it's like, hey, if a kid doesn't have long left, we want to, it's specifically for those kinds of people where it's like, we got to get these things done quickly for them if they want to meet somebody or go somewhere. So I thought that was just a cool mix of everything. I got to remember why I enjoyed watching Game Theory, or GT Live so much, because they're just very fun personalities. And it was a nice way to be like, all right, this is it. This is the complete finale of his time on the internet. Now, he's still going to be doing stuff here and there, and he probably will pop up as a guest, every so often. But I don't know, like this guy probably like lived the life, got to do something he enjoyed for so long, and is able to leave it kind of on top. He didn't have a decline or anything. There's no like, oh, who is this guy again? Oh, some old person from the past that nobody cares about. No, now the age demographic definitely went younger and younger as his time went on, but that's fine. Yeah. You just, wherever your content works, appeal to that. That's just what I wanted to quickly talk about is
Sweet.
He had a goodbye stream. It was really cool to tag back in on that and kind of get to experience that for the last time.
Nice. All right. I'm going to be quick on this one. So, full disclosure, let me see. Just got to check this really quick. Motorola Droid initial release date. So, oh my god, I was way off. So November 6, 2009, the Motorola Droid was released to the American public, the worldwide public. And since then, I have owned a Droid and Android phone. Motorola HTC, LG, Samsung, all the big ones. OnePlus, that's another one. And the other day, my phone for about a month, my Galaxy S24 Ultra was getting so hot that it was literally scorching like my fingers. And here's how hot it was getting. It would no longer recognize my fingerprint.
Jeez.
So if I want to get off the grid, I just buy a Galaxy S24 Ultra, I suppose. So I got an iPhone for the first time. And I just want to talk about my experience because for the longest time I would say, never will get an iPhone. But I had enough. So I got one, and immediately the display, I got the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the biggest and best one. And the display is so vivid and crisp that my eyes couldn't register what I was seeing. The Galaxy S24 Ultra has a quad, ultra, 4K, whatever display, but it holds nothing to this. The keyboard, I was typing text to everyone. It was super fast, super easy to use, but then I started to get to the other stuff, and all the stuff I'm missing. An app drawer.
Yep.
Responding in text. So you can respond, so you see your name here.
Mm-hmm.
I pull down the window. I can reply to you in this without even coming off of what I was doing. All sorts of things like this. I was getting so aggravated trying to use this phone.
You can kind of do that with the iPhone.
It has to be on the lock screen, right?
Not even. No, it can't be on the lock screen. It has to be. It just popped up.
Oh, okay.
So like if you were to text me right now, it would pop up and I could click on it and then it would pop down. Do you want to reply?
Oh, I got you.
And I could do it immediately.
Okay.
You can't do it like from here. If I, want to reply now that it's been older, I have to open it up.
Gotcha.
But if you had just texted me,
then it'll pop up in a square?
Yes, it will pop up in a square at the top of the screen.
They should just allow that across the board.
I bet we'll be in some agreement here, and I'll tell you why I still use an iPhone after the fact, but continue.
So I brought it with me. I drove to Cleveland. I got back yesterday, and we're going to talk about why I was in Cleveland shortly. I wanted to get the full experience. I was getting so aggravated the first couple days. I'm like, I don't want to use this anymore. But like, give it time. I used it for about a week, I think. Maybe like 5 days. And I got back yesterday and I switched the phone over. So it was an experience. I enjoyed it. The display, I got to figure out whatever the hell they're doing with that and try and get Samsung to get on that, because the vividness of the colors and just how beautiful it looked. If anyone out there has had an iPhone and an Android, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because it's beautiful. And I was enjoying watching, like I watched Don on it.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome.
When I got my new phone and it had like the 60 frames per second that you could get on it finally, I was like, that is crazy.
Oh, the 120 hertz?
Yeah. Mm. But so reason why I still have an iPhone, I'm going to put it best this way. iPhone users are like console users.
Yeah.
Android users are like PC users. PC has way more options and variety and things that you can do on it. Consoles has way less. However, everything is bundled and packaged well, and you don't have to really mess around with it all. Just everything's there ready to use.
Straightforward.
That is why I still use an Apple, is because I've been using, since the iPod. I've been using Apple stuff. Yeah. For like my, for iPod, and then when I got a phone, I had a Verizon Envy for the longest time, but then I got when they released like the iPhone, I got upgraded to an iPhone. Yeah. Off that thing. I've been using it for so long. I know how to use an iPhone perfectly well.
You know what's
if you're going from a Galaxy though, where you have all this customized billing, you understand how it works. Then try to go into iPhone, you're like, wow, what's missing so many features I'm used to.
Yep.
See, I don't have that problem because I've never owned a phone like that. And
it is the exact same thing with PCs.
Yeah.
I have an Apple desktop because I don't want to mess. I want to get on. I want to make sure what I'm doing. We're recording from an Apple from a Mac Mini right now. I want to get on, do my thing, do my editing, and But you, with your computer, you can do gaming, anything you want.
Because I have like the Windows computer.
Yep.
Yeah. And
it's just flipped.
I think it's just because of what you're used to.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. So it's like you're so used to the Samsung, and that's why like my brother-in-law constantly is like, oh yeah, Android's better than Apple, and I used to be like, no, Apple's better. I was like, yeah, sure, it's better.
Yeah.
I prefer Apple still though.
Yep.
And that's the thing.
And you're exactly right, because PCs, I will never argue that a Mac is better than a PC. But for what I need to do, which is exactly what you're saying with the phone, what I need to do with a computer is housed right in this Mac, and I'm done.
Yeah.
So, and I also have a MacBook laptop, but that's because when I was in school, this sucker is 12 years old. I got it in school 12 years ago.
That's my iPad I have right now.
Yeah.
I've had it since, like about 12 years too for me, actually. Yeah. I got it 2012, and I got the iPad for school, and I have like a keyboard I use on it for everything, like taking notes. I still use it to this day for like taking notes. I don't use my computer forever for it because it's just so easy to get this tablet, open it up, and clack away.
So good. But again, so preferences, what you need is what you're going to get. So iPhone, straightforward, basic, and that is not an insult. I have a new appreciation for them. And Galaxy, if you want, well, I say Galaxy, Android, if you want customization and other things. So,
all right, for a little bit of nostalgia here, I saw this video and I got very nostalgic, so I decided to watch it. And yeah, this video is just 30 minutes going through like midnight releases, why we got them, why we don't anymore, and then a large chunk of it is just let's look back at some old famous midnight releases that happened and some crazy stuff that happened, like where for Modern Warfare 2, wow, don't you love it? Modern Warfare 2, one of the stores actually like reenacted somebody going in like with fake guns to go in and like secure a target inside the GameStop while people are onlooking. And it's like, I think it's like later in the video, but it's like crazy where it's like you could never get away with doing that nowadays. But it's just a lot of fun. You're missing out. Like his Halo helmet in the background there that he has. What he says is like, if it wasn't for midnight releases, I wouldn't have this, because a friend of mine went to a midnight release for Halo. I think it was 3. A bunch of developers were there, and he got it signed by a bunch of them.
Oh my god!
And then he gave it to him as a gift.
Does he live
in Texas or Florida or something?
Maybe that's where the studio is or something.
Maybe, or his friend might have been from wherever the studio is, because he said he got it from a friend of his. But then he was like, I went and I got the voice actor for Master Chief to sign it. I got the voice actress for Cortana to sign it. I got the head of the music team to sign it. He's got all these more signatures on it. It's like, that is a one-of-a-kind thing that won't exist anywhere. And if it wasn't for the midnight release, you wouldn't have it. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, I didn't go to too many video game midnight releases or have that kind of experience, because I think it was a little bit before my time. Yeah. But I got nostalgic because I was thinking mainly of movie midnight releases. I miss that. Now, it's completely different from video games, and I've done video game midnight releases. I think the last one that I ever got to do was for Breath of the Wild.
Okay. That might have been right at the time they're phasing out.
Yep. I remember lining up outside the store. I mean, it was completely different because, I mean, like, it was the first time in a while I remember thinking, oh, there's a very long line for this game. Yeah. But we got cool, like, pre-order bonuses. Yep. I think when he's talking about it is back when, like, you didn't do pre-orders, you had to show up early.
Yes.
It's like, if you don't show up early, you're not going to get a collector's edition. Whereas nowadays, it's just like, are you the first one to click to get the collector's edition? And then you just, that's why midnight release isn't really a thing anymore, because it's like, well, I'm guaranteed a collector's edition, so why show up at midnight? But
it's corny, but
I miss that so much.
I can't remember what game it was, but I remember lining up outside a GameStop in Mattydale, that one that's over where Media Play used to be.
Yep.
And I was there for hours. They opened the doors at midnight, but there were so many people, and I did end up, I can't remember what damn game it was, but that was the last time I did. It was probably 2012, 2013.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate, and this is kind of just and I what I like he does is it's like just remembering the good times. That's all we can really do at this point, because the way that the world works now, especially because of COVID, we're not going to have this anymore. It's unfortunate, but man, you just like, I mean, that's the part of the thing. It's like, look how cringe some of these people are, but hey, we're all here for the same thing. We're all here to have fun. Who cares in the end?
Yeah.
It's
and like if you wanted that collector's edition, you had to get up, you had to get your ass out of your house and go get it.
It was like you had to be there like 24 hours early or something.
So fun.
Yeah. And I don't know, because I'm also thinking movies. I miss, like, everyone's there at the same time watching the movie. Yes.
And it's packed. The whole theater's packed.
The whole theater's packed.
Yep.
And you know that, like, you're going to be up till 3 a.m. Like, I remember when the first Hobbit movie came out, we couldn't get into the theater we normally do, and we went to Great Northern Mall.
Yes.
And it's this dingy, rundown theater. Packed, though. This dingy, rundown theater packed with people, and we're watching the Hobbit movie in some of the most uncomfortable seats.
Yep.
I'll never forget that night.
Because we had 3 main Regal theaters, Carousel, Shopping Town, and Great Northern. They remodeled Carousel and Shopping Town and left Great Northern.
Yep.
They had those nasty ass seats.
I've only been there twice or 3 times before, and it's just like, it's just not great.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's
so fun.
I miss that experience where, like, either whether it be video games or movies, everybody's there watching it at the same time,
experiencing things together.
Yeah,
like,
I know, like, the big one for people is like World of Warcraft. Those are like the big, like, midnight releases, because it's like, millions of people are going to be jumping on after you get this game, and you can all play together. It's unfortunate, but like he says in the video, it's the thing that we can do is, like, it's sad that we don't have it anymore, but it's good to look back at the fun times we did have with it. And that's kind of what I wanted to do while talking about it, was like bring up our experiences.
We miss out on a lot. We also talk about these communities online, and I'm putting in quotes, where, the Gears of War community. That's not how it was. What it was your local community, and you get together, you see the same faces if you've done it a few times, and it's an experience. You talk, you strike up conversations. One of my best friends in the world I met at the Gears of War 2 overnight release. True story.
You saying that just clicked something in my brain. You know where I get that feeling now from? Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I stand in line for hours for doing something. Like, there was somebody, not even Comic-Con, I was at Retro Game Con, which is right near where we are.
Sure.
And I had to wait in line for somebody for like 2 hours. And I struck up a conversation with people, and we just talked about stuff for 2 hours. I might never see them again, but that is, like, I still remember that happening, and I thought that was really cool. And that's the experience you don't get anymore. Because everything's online now, and I'm thinking like how less social we are now as people, because we just do everything online. Where it's like you're saying, like, one of your best friends you met at one of these things because you just struck up a conversation with them, and probably you were like afterwards, it's like, hey, we should play online together.
Yeah, it's like you already know you guys have a common interest, and that's the game you're waiting in line for. So let's play online together.
It's the same thing with, like, waiting in lines at conventions.
100%.
Where it's like we're waiting in line for a voice actor. Let's talk about all this. Like, it was Baldur's Gate 3 voice actor. We just started talking about Baldur's Gate 3 and D&D and stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome. You have that point of, like you said, familiarity. I think it's great. But that's why I really liked this video, and just going through it and re-experiencing, the good old days, as 100%. We like to call them.
So good. I'm going to watch this video, actually. Oh, I'm not logged in. I was going to add it to my watch later, but... Okay. So today's Friday. 2 nights ago, I was in Cleveland. Actually drove back yesterday. There's something about a long drive that's nice, but it's like a little over 5 hours to Cleveland from here. After the 4th hour, I'm like, I just want to be out of this damn car. Get me out of here.
That's me when I was driving back from, like, my brother's wedding, and I was like, I got only 1 hour left. I want this to be over with, please.
Just get me out. We had 3rd row from the front, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So they done a lot of things now with AEW to kind of make it better and over the years, and it was called Fright Night Dynamite because it was the day before Halloween. And I was very nervous because prior, and I mentioned this before, they did a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game crossover where they had some dude come out in a Leatherface costume, and, like, the cringiness was going straight up my spine. But this, all they did was a cool intro, and I want to see if I can show it to you without I don't know if they'll copyright or not, but on the big screen, and then it jumps right into that opening segment. But the reason I'm saying this is because this is all they did. They had a Halloween themed stage, and then this like kind of cool like opening creepy, like, House of Horrors, all that stuff.
Night like this.
Yeah. Which was refreshing because I was very scared of what they were going to do. But the show was great. There was a guy dressed up as the devil and a guy dressed up as Jesus next to each other. And no, you can kind of see him behind this guy's arm. The red there.
They were in the crowd.
In the crowd, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
And the crowd started chanting, "Let's go Satan, let's go Jesus," like warring chants.
Yeah.
I was chanting for Jesus, okay? Yes. I'm like, I don't want to, maybe I'm not like the most religious man, but I also don't want to cheer for Satan. So, and a lot of people were dressed up. It was a lot of fun. So,
yeah, no, that seemed like a lot of fun. Yeah, you got we really got to find a show that you say is going to be good for somebody who's never watched it before, and then I got to make the time to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to say I've done it at least once in my life.
Yeah. One. We could go to a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
There's one in New Jersey at the end of November. All right.
I just briefly upcoming. I haven't been able to watch anything since episode 4 because I've been busy. I'm going to be watching more later, but I don't think I'll be talking about it next week because we only got one episode left after this Sunday. So I believe what I'll just do is I talked about the first 4 episodes, and then once the final episode is out, I'll watch it all, and then I can talk about it. Have you started it yet?
No.
Are you still behind? It's
this weekend.
A YouTuber I really like, creative videos. Like I usually wait till shows are over, but I just needed to say that I think this is the best TV show on television this year.
Nice.
It's just that engaging, that interesting, and you would think like, oh, as a Batman spin-off TV show, you're not getting much out of it, but this really does try to give it all to be an interesting, engaging TV show that just happens to be about a Batman character, and use Batman characters. So yeah, I'll be catching up on those episodes when I get a little bit more free time, probably this Sunday when the next one comes out.
Nice.
And then we get the final episode the Sunday after that, and I'm looking forward to that.
Deal. And then my last thing is Venom: The Last Dance. I'm going tomorrow to see it. I don't know if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, but it's the Null story.
You want me to tell you what people have been saying about it, or do you want to go into
Sure.
it? Very disappointing because if you're expecting Null, you'll get like 5 seconds.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's what people were very disappointed because they've been hyping up all this Null stuff, and then it's just Null's like, "Find you, let me send my creatures after you," and that's what the villains are.
Gotcha.
And you never like, yeah.
Okay. That's allegedly supposed to be the last one.
It is the final Venom movie that we know of. Yeah. At least with this whole like Eddie Brock Venom dynamic.
They better not. They better not make that dweeb from the Spider-Man movies as Venom. I will lose my absolute mind. The worst character to ever be created from the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, the Flash Thompson kid.
Oh, there's no way he'll be.
Holy hell.
I mean, like, I think Flash Thompson does become Venom at some point.
Yeah, he does.
But I really don't feel like, since thankfully the Spider-Man movies are the ones are being basically run by Marvel Studios themselves. Yeah. And that's funny saying that, man, I feel like Venom is in better hands in Marvel than it is Sony, especially looking at how Marvel has been doing lately.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, do you care about a slight Agatha All Along spoiler?
No.
Because you know that your girl Aubrey Plaza's in it.
Really?
She's Lady. They just revealed she's Lady Death.
Oh, nice.
Universe. I was like, yeah, too bad you put it in a show like that.
Yeah.
I was talking with my brother, and kind of going back to what we were talking about, like, you know, like the death of the midnight release. I feel like that kind of ended with Marvel as well. Like when Marvel movies used to be a big event, so like you would go to see you would see that Marvel movie like 2 or 3 times a year, and that'd be a big thing. We'd all be packed in a theater to see that.
Excitement.
Now, because like the TV shows have just super diluted that, and the movies have been super underwhelming and under par, people don't care anymore. So like these big movie events that we used to have just aren't there anymore. Because I'm even thinking like they've done this with every single big franchise. Because Star Wars, like I remember going to see, even though I hate the movie Star Wars Episode 9, I went to see it in the big RPX theater, and there's packed.
Really?
Packed full.
Oh.
just a lot of people leaving disappointed, including me. My friend still reminds me, he's like, when Kylo Ren threw his lightsaber into the ocean, I heard just a come from you, because I promised I wouldn't say anything to complain, because I usually complain a lot. But he's like, I could hear your loud audible sigh. I gave up on the movie completely at that point. But even then, it's like, sure, the movie wasn't good, but it was still, I remember that night because it was packed. And a night that I will remember, and it wasn't even a night, it wasn't, I don't think it was opening night or anything still, but it was just for being packed. I remember it is Longlegs when I went to see Longlegs, and the theater was, I think it was the day after, it was packed full, and I was like, what? I haven't seen this in years. Yep. I just saw another movie that was kind of packed. It wasn't as much. I think it was For the Substance. It wasn't as packed as Longlegs, but it was still, they had it in the smaller theater. That was the thing. Like, when I went to see Longlegs, it was in the bigger theater and it had a ton of people in it.
Oh, yeah.
They had The Substance in a smaller theater, but it was still kind of packed for that small little theater. And I was like, I miss being like this in movies, because a lot of people are like, oh, the audience members annoy me. But I love hearing sometimes people's reactions to things, as long as they're not chit-chatty the entire movie being distracting.
That's the weird thing about audience members is I have no problem when the theater's full, but when it's like 3 sets of people in there and there's someone talking the whole, it drives me insane.
Like some lady, like when I was watching The Substance, she was like, oh my God, I think I need to leave. I was like, that was funny. And I was like, I don't mind her yelling that out loud, because it made it more memorable when you got to some of these stuff at the end there.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're here to try to relive those experiences, I guess, still. And it'd be very cool if we could get those again. And that's why we try to encourage you guys to watch these movies that deserve to be successful, because like a movie like Nightmare Alley should have been successful. Yeah. You know, and a movie like The Northman should have been successful at the theaters. I'm glad it found success on DVDs and streaming after the fact that made it, you know, profitable. But it's like, how did that not do good in the theater? It makes no sense. So that's why we're going to continue to give you guys like our recommendations for these movies, and just please support them. If you have the financial means to do so, support them and show, you know, Hollywood and these independent filmmakers that you want to see more of these types of movies. Or else we're still going to keep getting the Marvels and some Star Wars schlock now. That, I mean, Star Wars hasn't come out with a movie since Episode 9. That's just how bad it's been. But we get all this schlock, like live action Disney remakes that people don't care about. That is stuff that should go straight to streaming service. Like, I'll even say I don't like those movies, but they still have a right to exist. But those are movies that should go straight to streaming services. They just put it out in theaters because they know, oh, people are going to see this Disney thing because, oh, remember Lion King?
Right.
I remember Lion King. You should go watch Lion King.
Live action remake.
Because it's just CGI still. Except it's worse because they tried to make it look real and the animals can't emote then.
You're right. Right.
I forget what movie I just watched that had like CGI animals, but they actually like have like emotions and everything. And I was like, yeah, see, this is what Lion King was missing, because you want like that's why you need a cartoony style with it, like the original Lion King, because then you can actually get to see them emote. When Mufasa dies and Simba's there trying to wake him up, it's like, man, you can see like the pain in that lion's face. You watch the live action remake, there's like nothing there.
Right. Whoa.
Oh, what the heck just happened?
I was just trying to see how much Venom's made so far while we're...
Oh, I think it's done very well.
Good.
I believe.
Because I want to give you guys a full disclosure for next week when I talk about this. Venom is my favorite Marvel character ever. So you're just going to have to deal that I'll probably have rose-colored glasses. Putting it out there to begin with. Already 187 million.
Yeah, that's what it's because of the international box office. That's what I heard.
Is it a week today?
Yes.
Week. Okay.
So that's what I heard, is the international box office has been amazing for this movie.
Double the...
And that's what I always say too, is like, I don't really like the first Venom movie.
Yeah.
I think the second Venom movie has good parts to it, but it's like, once again, it feels like an R-rated movie cut around.
Oh yeah.
And I think this movie has the same problem. I can't remember if it's rated R or not. But I think you really enjoyed the first Venom movie. And it's just like, oh, you got something out of it that I didn't. That's awesome. I'm not going to be like, hey, what do you mean you enjoyed the movie? What about this problem I had with it and this problem I had with it? It's like, there's no point in doing that. I want people to enjoy stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I don't doesn't mean you can. So, you know, if you enjoy the live action Little Mermaid, good for you. I don't like it, but if you got enjoyment out of it, I had friends who went to see, like, the only live action Disney movie that I've seen in theaters was the Aladdin one.
Okay.
Because my friends dragged me along to it. I had a terrible time. They liked it, so I just kept my mouth shut, and I was just like, I mean, I didn't like this little thing. I just gave my nitpicks, but I was like, they enjoyed it. I don't want to make their experience worse. Because at the end of the day, what is the purpose of a movie? To be entertaining.
Yeah.
So if you got entertainment out of it, great. That's fantastic for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Venom, the only Venom live action I'd had to this point was Topher Grace. So anything that was not Topher Grace would.
That's the one thing I can say. Tom Hardy is a much better, like, visual looking Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
Than Topher Grace.
Absolutely.
Oh man, like Topher Grace is like would be like a Peter Parker, like nerdy, like you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing with Eddie Brock is like he's this big, intimidating guy that's without the Venom suit. Then you look at Topher Grace and it's like,
who's a character that Topher Grace could have played in the Spider-Man universe that would have made sense? Is there anyone?
I can't think Spider-Man universe, but maybe like Jimmy Olsen or something.
Yeah, yeah, true.
It's like Jimmy Olsen. I could see him being
Electro.
I guess Electro. Yeah, like he. I don't know if he can do it, but it just kind of a little bit more of his crazy side.
Yeah,
and he'd really get it. But yeah, like there's someone out there for him. Just, I mean, if you know the whole story about Venom in that movie, Venom wasn't supposed to be in that movie. He was forced upon them. It was just supposed to be the Sandman, which you can tell because that's the best parts of the movie. Is the Sandman stuff.
Sandman and
it was Sandman, New Goblin, and Venom.
Oh, Goblin. Yeah, okay.
New Goblin was only supposed to be a small part of the movie
at the end.
They needed to wrap him up, and yeah, so that's why like there was just supposed to be those two. Venom wasn't supposed to be in it at all. Sam Raimi is known for hating Venom. Actually, not like hating the character, but just like I don't like directing stuff like that. That's not my thing.
Yeah. And why Venom is a big enough character where they didn't have to shove him in, and it probably would have continued the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. It probably wouldn't have killed it.
Yeah, I mean, like the movie still did well financially, but it just was received so mixed that that's it's just unfortunate. I mean, it's super cool that we got to see more Tobey Maguire in the more Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie.
2007.
Yeah, I know, right?
God.
What, 14 years? No, more than 14 years.
It made almost $17 billion.
Yeah, that's what I say. It was still financially successful. I think it was just, they were like, because they started working on the fourth movie. That's why actually little bits of the fourth movie are in Spider-Man Homecoming. Because the Vulture was supposed to be the main villain, I believe, for Spider-Man 4.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us.
Little rant about movies there at the end.
Yeah. Catch us next week with those two things and more, of course. And let us know what you think down below. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And we will catch you guys later.
Peace.